Alright, we're going to finish up section 4 with this video, and we're going to only do a couple more examples here because I think once you've done a couple of these you get a pretty good knack for how to do them, but you do have to practice as any new skill. And in this case they're very similar to one of the last examples I did in the previous video. Given that the cosine of theta is -3/8 and that the sine of theta is less than 0, find the sine of theta and the tangent of theta. Well, the fact that cosine is negative and sine is negative tells me that I am in the third quadrant. Remember, all students take calculus. All students take calculus. Tangent's positive, but sine and cosine are both negative. Now, that means that the x and the y of the ordered pair on the terminal side would both be negative. Now, the cosine of an angle is equal to the x over the r. So based on this ratio, it would have the ratio of -3 over a +8. Because the x can be negative, but the r, remember, is a positive number. It's the square root of x squared plus y squared. So I'm going to do this where I'm going to have x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. So -3 squared plus y squared is equal to 8 squared. 9 plus y squared is equal to 64. If I subtract 9 from both sides, I get y squared is equal to 55, and that means y is equal to plus or minus the square root of 55. Well, in the third quadrant, my y is negative. So I only have negative the square root of 55. The sine of theta is the y over the r, so the y is negative square root of 55 all over the r, which is 8. The tangent of theta, now this should be positive, this is the y over the x, so the y is negative square root of 55, the x is -3, so I get positive square root of 55 over 3, and it's in simplest radical form, and those are the two values. I can find the other three, but that's all they're asking for here. Very similar problem in problem number 3. It says that the sine of theta is -5/13, and for theta that's in the fourth quadrant. So I already know what quadrant it is. Sine is negative. Remember, all students take calculus. Well, it's right over here. All students take calculus. Cosine is positive in the fourth. And that's one of the things they're asking for, is the cosine. So I'm going to work this problem very much like I just did here. The sine of theta would be -5 over a +13. Alright, so in the fourth quadrant, remember, the cosine is positive, so this is y over r. I'm going to have x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, so I'm going to have x squared plus -5 squared is equal to 13 squared. X squared plus 25 is equal to 169, subtract 25 from both sides, 144, to take the square root of both sides, plus or minus the square root of 144, plus or minus 12. But as I mentioned before, x is good in the fourth quadrant is positive. So I really don't need the plus or minus, I just need the positive. So it's positive 12. I want the cosine. The cosine of theta is going to be x over r, which is going to be a positive 12 over a positive 13. The tangent of theta is going to be y over x. The y, remember back here, is -5. The x is positive 12, so I have the tangent of theta is -5/12. And they are very similar problems, but important problems. You'll be seeing more of these, and as always, you need to practice, practice, practice.